Hi, friends. Hi, cousins. Hi, mom. Hi, nieces and nephews. Welcome back to In the Field. No, not In the Field with Some. Sorry. This is the Sky Zone. This is the Sky Zone. It's been so long. It's been 9 months. That's a whole pregnancy, y'all. But we're here. We've been redeemed, and let's get into it. So, where have I been for 9 months? You say? Well, 9 months ago was September, and that was the start of me doing physical activities pertaining to sport specific activities coming back from surgery. So I was starting to get acclimated with the new school that I go to, which is Cal State Northridge. And I was also getting into actually throwing the discus and the hammer, which I hadn't done for probably a little over a year um, at the time when I started doing it. But it was a long time. Um, and that was an interesting point in my transition to this school because I um, was getting to learn my teammates, build relationships, but I also was able to grow in community with a group of athletes. And we would have Bible study, and that was very helpful for me because it helped me grow in my faith, and I believe that it helped others grow in their faith as well. Um, so I wasn't just not doing anything completely while I was missing in action, MIA. I was just running from the call, and we're gonna get into that later. But December, I skipped November. November, I was doing the same thing. December came, I went home, spent some time with family, and that's always nice because I only get to see my family like twice, 2 to 4 times a year. Excuse all these flies, y'all. I'm trying to be all a nature girl and touch grass, but I don't know if it's working out. And that's always nice to see my family. And then January came, and that was the start of track season. Now, keep in mind, before I got back surgery, there were precautions or certain precautions that the medical professionals had to inform me of because that's their job and it's legal matters. So I was made aware that I would probably not be able to be capable of reaching the level of athleticism that I had before I had the surgery, after I got the surgery, and God did what he does best. And he performed a miracle, and I was able to PR. If you don't speak track and field, that means break my personal record in not one, not two, but all of my events. And that was a blessing. But let me not get ahead of myself. Um, so in January, we had indoor season. Um, that was fun. I only competed in a couple of indoor meets, but during that time, I was still, you know, going to church, doing Bible study with my teammates, and yeah, just living life with sums, but off the grid. And I really started to wrestle with the idea of wanting to be online and not wanting to be online. And during that time, I spent a lot of time on social media. Like, there would be weeks or days where I would just completely delete TikTok or Instagram off my phone. And there was a period of time where I didn't have TikTok on my phone for like a month. Like, when TikTok got banned a few months ago, I didn't even have it on my phone. So when I tried to go back to the App Store and download it, I couldn't because it wasn't on my phone to begin with. So I was bummed, but thank God that he bought it back, that they decided to bring it back. Anywho, let me get back on track. February, we had MPSF uh conference championships, and I got second, and I was upset with getting second, but that is because I stopped looking at how far I came, and I was so focused on what I wanted to do, but I had to realize that in the midst of everything that was going on, I was still where God wanted me to be, and I was healthy, and I was happy, and I was with my teammates, and I was doing things that people said I would never be able to do again. So I just had to. I talked to one of my friends about it, and I was like, I'm so disappointed. And they spoke life into me, and I really appreciated that. And that gratitude set me up for outdoor season, which started in March. And I opened up pretty decent for outdoor season, and I was just, I don't have words to describe what it felt like to get back on the track, or I don't run, get back in the circle and throw the hammer and the discus. I didn't open up in discus until a week after, or a few weeks after, but to be able to get into to a track meet and throw the hammer was like, it did something to my soul, y'all. Like, I almost cried at that meet because I genuinely didn't think I was going to throw again ever. Like last summer, this time, I was so full of doubt, unbelief. I was in between blessings. Like, y'all, that was probably the brokest I had ever been in my life. But praise the Lord, because He got me out. Um, and yeah, and so as time progressed and the season went on, I got away from that gratitude. And it's funny because I keep saying the word gratitude. And that's really what carried me, because it's understanding that I didn't get to this place on my own or by my own strength. It was by God's strength. And when I got healthy enough to do things on my own, and it's like even arrogant to say this, but it's like I felt like I got to a place where I could do things on my own. And I was like, I didn't vocalize like, God, I don't need you, but my actions showed like, okay, God, I don't need you. Like, I got it from here. And it's just like, girl, you got so much ahead of you. You might want to pipe down a little bit. And in April, the season went on. Um, and I had a conversation with my coach after a really rough meet because I just had a very bad performance. Like, I threw some numbers that I was throwing in high school, basically. And we talked about our performance on my way back home because it was a very long drive. It was Mount Sac, and it was probably an hour and some change away from the school. Excuse me. And it was a real heart to heart. And that was a start of me getting back to the center of like, okay, why am I doing this? You know, be realistic with yourself. You just had back surgery a year ago and all of the things. And then later in May, conference was in May. Conference was in May, right? Conference was in May. Yeah. Uh, I was able to get a better perspective on excuse me. It's wasp all in this grass, y'all. Oh my gosh. But I was able to get a better perspective and understand that I still had a lot of season left, starting championship season. And hammer competition was rough. If you watched hammer competition, you know hammer comp was rough. Like, it was a rough day, y'all. I was not believing in myself. And I should have been believing in God more than I was believing in myself. But you know, you live and you learn. But came discus the next day, I just had a, like, my teammate told me something, and it really made me think like, you got that dog in you. Like, don't ever forget you got that dog in you. So act like you got that dog in you. And don't let nobody think that you ain't got that dog in you. Like, wake the dog up. Wake the dog up. So we woke the dog up and I PR'd. But my first PR before then in discus was, it was at Davis. No. Yeah, yeah, it was at UC Davis. But it was just beautiful to see how my perspective changed from the Mount Sac track meet, which was in April, to late April and then to early May, and see how that changed the trajectory of my performance. Um, and ultimately, I became a two-time Big West champion in the discus and the hammer throw after having back surgery, y'all. Like, I don't even have words to say, like, even when it happened, period, it is like this. Um, when it happened, I was like, oh my gosh. I expected myself to win because I was healthier and stronger than I was before I had the surgery. But it just felt like I'm supposed to win, like I'm supposed to be here. But that kind of hindered me from actually celebrating the moment of what was actually happening. Like you had back surgery not even a year ago from the time that you were able to be a two-time Big West champion. And yeah, God is amazing, and that blows my mind. And through from I just talked about my athletic performance through those months, but spiritually, I was I was wrestling. I was fighting for my life. I was fighting for my life. And I thank God for the community and the sisterhood that He's blessed me with at my new school, from um, the Bible study group that we have to my teammates, the throwers, because we have real conversations, and they help me just as much as I would help them. But they helped me get through a lot, along with my family and friends and church family. Um, but yeah, that's basically what I've been doing. And so more so after I finished track season, I was able to sit, go back home, spend some time with family, and think about like, okay, Summer, what is it that you actually want to do? And it's not just so much what do you want to do. It's like how can you really align with what God has in your life. And I made a new TikTok page so I could just talk and like be unhinged, but not in a mindful way, in a very demure way. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna start posting content, woohoo. But then my friend said something to me about it, and then another friend said something to me about it, and I'm like, okay, like, why is y'all in my business? Get out my business, respectfully. And if you're watching this, I appreciate you being in my business, but respectfully, stay out my um no, but I appreciate it because it's just an echo from the things that God is already telling me to do. And yeah, I've been running. I've been running because I didn't feel qualified, and it's so ironic that the last podcast episode I talked about was well, the title was "Am I Qualified?" and I talked about imposter syndrome and how it shows up in different ways, and I didn't understand that I well, I'm not gonna say I don't understand that I was a victim of imposter syndrome, and I because I still do struggle with imposter syndrome sometimes, and it shows up in different ways, but as far as like using a voice that God has given me, I kind of question it sometimes because I feel like sometimes I talk too much and I don't want to get behind the camera and just be chatting and be yapping. And yeah, but I said something in a video this morning. I was like, that's literally what the woman at the well did. Like, this wasp will look close, y'all. Lord protect me. That's literally what the woman at the well did. Like, she experienced Jesus through an encounter. He said, "You don't have one husband, you have five, and the man that you with right now ain't your man's." And you know what she did? She didn't know no theology. She didn't know no eschatology. She didn't know his genealogy. She said, You the Messiah." So you know what she did? She took the encounter that she had with Jesus and she took it to her city and was able to save so many souls because of her voice and her testimony. And I was thinking like, you don't have to know the theology. You don't have to know all of the things that make you knowledgeable about Christ. Like those things are important, but what I'm trying to get at is like those things don't make you qualified. The encounter in Christ Himself makes you qualified, and I hope that makes sense because I hope I'm not just talking right now. And I pray that the Lord is leading my conversation. Um, and so within that 9 months, I genuinely feel like God was birthing something in me to sustain me for what's to come. Because I do have a passion to tell my story. I do have a passion to talk about certain topics. I do have a passion to talk. And it's crazy because when I was younger, I never used to like talking. Like my mama literally used to have to like pull it out of me if I said like my stomach was hurting, or if like people was bullying me in elementary school. I was not telling my mama that. If you know my mama, you know she's a little unhinged. she she missing a few screws. So that was one of the reasons why I didn't tell her I was getting bullied. But another reason it was like, it's okay. Like, if I tell you like what's gonna happen, but I'm therapized now. Shout out to Dewey. I'm therapized, so I talk and I talk often. And I really enjoy talking. And I just talk myself in a circle talking about. um, but through him birthing something inside of me, I think I have a solid foundation. And I can't even say I think, I genuinely believe that he was building a solid foundation on like pruning me, purging me, putting things in me. Like, what audience am I looking to serve? Am I looking to serve God, or am I looking to serve the needs of my peers, or the needs of meeting social standards, or am I meeting um the aesthetic trends rather than just speaking on like what God places in my spirit to talk about, or even just talking about my own testimony. And I feel like this led to intentionality with the things that I say on and off camera, because again, I don't want to lead nobody astray. I don't want nobody blood to be on my hands. I just want to be found faithful. And I have been so convicted these past couple of weeks. Like, I kept thinking about the parable. Um, I can't think of it right now. With the denarii, and one person gets one person gets five, and one person gets 10, or the 135 or 125, something like that. I don't know if the numbers are correct, but it's something along those lines. And the person that had five doubled it, and they gave it back to the master. The other person that had two doubled it and gave it back to the master. But the one that had one went and buried it, and it was time to report back to the master. The master called him a lazy servant or something like that. And basically, it's like, I don't want to be found unfaithful with the things God has blessed me with, like the gifts that God has blessed me with. I want to be able to use my gifts so that God can use that to reach the people that He has assigned to my life. Um, and like thinking about that, that's kind of heavy, because my yes is attached to somebody else's breakthrough. And yeah, and I've learned grace. Sorry, grace. Um, in a deeper way in this season, because even in the midst of me running from what I know God has called me to do, He still loves me, and there's nothing that can separate me from His love. And I'm so grateful that He even gave me life to live to this point, to be able to sit in front of this camera and hold this microphone and have a chance to even talk to y'all and be able to try again. Because if He really gave me what I deserved, we wouldn't be here, y'all. We wouldn't be here. So thank you, Jesus. And my last point is finding purpose within failure, because I know it may be kind of embarrassing to, because I know something that I said in this podcast is what I post publicly will hold me accountable privately. And yeah, it has been eating me up, and I probably said that before. But I feel like we live in a culture where it is socially acceptable to try and succeed, but it's not socially accepted when you try and you fail, because so many people look at failure like, why is failing so cringy in public? And it's like, at least I can say I tried. And then it's just like, okay, what is success and what is failure? And then you have to dissect those two concepts, and then you really get back to the bottom of it. And it's like, okay, who are you trying to please? And I feel like that's something that God has really been showing me. And also, like, not posting, like, God has been teaching me a lot about Himself and who He is, and also myself and who I am. And I've been able to pour into the people around me, but I think I need to get out of my own way and to let God take the lead. And yeah, so I'll be posting more content. I don't even like calling it content, because it's just like, I don't want to be like everybody else. I'll be posting more episodes, more videos of me just talking, little think pieces. Because I like to talk. All my friends know I like to talk. And sometimes I be feeling like I be talking too much. So this gives me another way to talk to somebody that is actually helping me by listening. Um, and yeah, I think that's all I have to say. So, thank you for watching this video. Um, yeah, I feel like this just like released a lot of weight on me because I waited so long to do this. But um, did the mic turn off? No, it didn't. What's the slogan? Who you choose to fly with? Wait, I don't forgot it. Um, who you choose to fly with is just as important as the destination. So make sure you choose Jesus. And until next time, peace.